Next up is the great Ashley Laporte.
Never been called the great before. I love Noelle for that.
Get used to it.
So I'm usually up here with my little sister Jessica Laporte. She couldn't be here today, which is unfortunate because she usually says something absolutely brilliant. And that usually gives me and all of our Black friends who are here hope that some of you listening will be moved to join us in the fight. Jessica is brilliant. And since she's moved back home to Vermont, she's become my rock. I usually stand up here with my sister because she gives me strength, the strength that I need to speak the truth. You see, Jess has known who she is from a really young age. She's nearly always been her authentic self. She understood the beauty and power of Blackness well before I did. And it's been through her that I've understood the power of fiercely loving yourself. Fiercely loving yourself is hard to do no matter who you are. It's a special kind of challenge for Black women though, especially Black women who grow up here in Vermont. Because at every turn, someone or something is causing you to question your very humanity. I've tried to explain before that racism in Vermont shows up in so many different ways. The overt kind that comes with people flying Confederate flags, which I don't know if you guys have noticed, but have popped up more and more recently. And in case you didn't know, the Confederate flag really started being used widely in the 60s as a response to the civil rights movement. It's the overt kind of racism in Vermont, like when just yesterday I heard a white man yell, "Sup nigga," out his car to another white person. But Vermont harbors the most insidious kind of racism, the kind that doesn't even know it's racist. It's in how people look at your hair and try to touch it. It's in being told when you're shopping for a car, I don't really know if you can afford that one, before they've even looked at your finances. And once they do, the absolute shock and awe on their face and say, well, good for you, who knew? It's the kind that denied the ask for the COVID-19 testing stations in Winooski, where there's a large population of folks who are Black and brown people and who are disproportionately exposed to the virus as they work frontline jobs in elderly homes and grocery stores. It's the kind that only brought testing stations to Winooski after an outbreak had already occurred. Even our governor recently reminded us racism exists here as well. In this environment, I think I've told some of you before that I've tried for years to shrink myself down or contort myself into acceptable shapes. Because changing who I am seems easier than enduring the daily tiny cuts. After a while, when people tell you that you are too much of something, it's hard not to believe them. You're too fat, you're too loud, your hair is too difficult, you're too outspoken, you ask too many questions. You're too quiet, why don't you speak up for yourself? You're too demanding. You're too quick to judge, too impatient when you're being judged. It can be crippling. So yes, it's hard to fiercely love myself here, but my sister gives me strength. My Black and my brown friends who are here today give me strength. We have found strength, Black and brown people, in coming together to do as my sister encouraged us to do, to celebrate Black life, not just mourn Black death. This is in large part why we keep coming out and speaking out at events like this. Each of us has our own reason for being here. We want to ensure Black voices are heard. We want to ask white people to stand up to systemic racism. For me, I keep coming because it feels so damn good to see other Black people in Vermont and to feel your presence. When I heard about what happened last weekend, it broke my heart. I was not here last weekend. My mom, though, was here. She's a total badass and a great ally. And she was carrying, whoever just cheered for her, thank you, she's amazing. And she was carrying a sign that said, "Black Lives Matter, love mom," short and sweet. And my Black friends, my brown friends were here. And when they explained what had happened and they had showed me what had happened here, I was beyond angry. As Noel described, under the guise of supporting the police, protesters, decked out in Americana, stood up, sang the national anthem, and chanted USA in response to the Black Lives Matter movement. So yeah, Black Lives Matter supporters came out to defend our voices and defend our life. That might not be the story you heard, or what you watched on WCAX Channel 3. Because for some reason, some people and the media have had a hard time reporting the truth lately. Luckily, technology helps us capture the truth. From the streets of Portland, where the federal agents are physically beating citizens, mothers, and veterans defending Black life, to right here in Montpelier on these steps, where a woman shouted, "Black lives don't matter to me," in the face of Black Vermonters. Somehow, most media outlets missed that, but we didn't. And the video, which my friends posted, has now gone completely viral. And now the nation knows Vermont too is racist. Since then, people have asked us Black people in Vermont, to listen. And by people, I mean Governor Scott, who has said that we must listen to the other side. Black Vermonters must listen to the other side and learn, and I quote, to speak with one voice. Here's the thing, I have been listening, and what I am hearing is Black lives don't matter to me. That's what we are hearing back. And I'm taking a step back, and I'm looking at the situation, and I'm seeing the American flag, the flag for my country, where I was born, and I am a contributing member of society, raised up in front of me and used as a counterpoint when I say, hey y'all, my life matters. Think about that. Think about that. When me and my friends say, Black lives matter, our life matters, we are met with chants of USA, USA. What else are we supposed to surmise than this idea of America matters more than us? What else are we supposed to think other than people don't want us here in our own home? So no, I'm not particularly interested in listening to the other side. I've been listening and I don't like what I'm hearing. It threatens me in my home state, in my home country. These voices threaten my very existence. So perhaps it's time for the other side, to sit down and listen. Hear our voices. Hear that we are a worthy people. We are worthy of life. Hear that we're smart and we're capable and we're loving. Many of us have been wronged and our trauma is haunting us. But we're still here, and we're still creating culture, and we're still celebrating our life. Maybe the other side could listen to that. And then, if they want to engage in a conversation, they can begin by not bringing allies who carry signs that say, Black Lives Matter equals terrorists. And they can start by saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that the boys in blue have knelt on the neck of the people who look like you. I'm sorry that people who wear the uniform have shot your children. I'm sorry the police have entered the homes of your people and have shot them dead in their own beds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry our federal government is sending armed, militarized agencies into our cities and throwing tear gas into the face of our citizens. I'm sorry that for years we told you you were too much. I'm sorry your classmates bullied you. I'm sorry my children bullied you. I'm sorry that I've watched on for years in silence, knowing racism is wrong, but not standing up to it. And even then, when the other side, even then after they apologize, this other side would still have more work to do. And I'm sorry is just the first step. Don't they get that? Don't you get that? After the apologies, the hard work begins. Then you need to actively participate in dismantling the system of white supremacy that we all operate in. You need to join us in divesting from systems that do not support our entire community and actively work against our community. And then you need to listen when we say that we've never only asked for divestment. We are asking for investment in Black and brown communities here in this state and in the nation. If I saw that, then maybe I'd be able to open up my ears and listen again. If there's one thing I want this group to take away from today, it's that we all have a moral imperative to represent the truth. The capital T truth of the situation here. Not the comfortable truth or the half-truth. If we can't even see the situation in front of us and call it what it is, that we are operating in a system of racism, we cannot even begin the work of reconciliation. And more importantly, we can't begin the work to repair. To the media who is here today, you have an obligation yourselves to accurately represent what you see and hear today. This means covering all Black voices. It means getting footage of the women who run around at other protests with signs that say, "Black lives don't matter to me." Instead of Black lives needing to capture that and let the world see that the racism is alive and well here, we need you to do that. Too many times after the events the local media has covered, they have absolutely left out other people of color. They're covering me, and they're covering my sister, because we're light-skinned Black girls who speak a certain way, and we are easy to cover. And we are happy that Black people are ending up in the media, but it's not enough. Too many times our Black siblings, and particularly our Black brothers, are completely left out from history as though their experiences don't matter. Those with criminal records and those in law school equally being left out of the story. Those who are artists and fathers and friends of mine. Our queer and trans siblings too are being erased. And this is so dangerous. What we have seen is the power of what happens when Black death is captured on camera. Imagine the power if Black life was captured. How much harder would it be for people to turn a blind eye to us? We need you to see that we are America, too. This is my America, too. That's why I stand up and I'm trying to speak the truth about what it's like to be a Black American. It's also why I vote and why I advocate for policy change that can begin to dismantle systemic racism. I'm sure many of you have read the words of John Lewis that were published on the day of his passing. He said, "Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and to stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate the way of peace, the way of love, the way of nonviolence, and that is a more excellent way. Now is your turn to let freedom ring." Will you let freedom ring with us? Will you stand with those who stand up against those who shout USA in our faces and remind them that this is our country too? Will you go to schools and ask them to remove school resource officers who are hurting Black and brown children? Will you go and demand that your town and your city budgets defund things that are hurting our community and refund community development projects for Black and brown people? Will you support the economic development of Black people? This fall, do you promise to vote? And when you do, will you vote with the interests of us in mind? Because we too are America. It's time for all of us to act for what we believe in, to step up. I hope you'll be with us. Be well. Thank you.